Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is Yankee and the Brit, and we're back at you after a little hiatus after the Super Bowl. And we are going to hit you with our top quarterback prospects. And Maddie, I don't think mine are going to line up with anybody's. But I do want to say before we get into this, and you are my witness, and so is all this recording. Nobody wanted to listen to me about Jaden Daniels in the middle of the year. Now he's loved. And at the end of the year, I was telling you, I'm watching more of JJ McCarthy, and I'm starting to like him. So I just wanted to throw that out there. A lot of people are going to act like they're the first. And I just want to say I got it on record with some recordings that I was up there with the top of the people with the Jaden and the JJ.
There is so many takes that we've had like that this year, weirdly, where we've been kind of hot on something early, and I wish we just had snippets and could send it to things like ESPN and Fox and timestamp them and say, look at what we did. We got this before.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of times this year where you were like, X is what's going to happen, and it happened. And then, you know what I mean? When the regular media is like, no, that'll never happen. So, yeah, I felt pretty good about those takes, though, now that I'm watching Talking Heads.
Yeah, we've been pretty good. We've had a little hiatus there of a couple of weeks after the Super Bowl just because we're not these juggernauts that get paid to do this. So we both needed to just take a little bit of a break to just chill out after the Super Bowl. And now we're back. And
until we get invited to the scouting combine with our press pass, we'll just have to take some time off. Once they start inviting us to the scouting combine with a press pass, that'll be different.
Yeah, exactly. Like once we're actually boots on the ground and this is our full-time job, we're getting a lot of people in currently into our live show. So hello, everybody. Nice to.
Dang!
Nice
I just realized how fast that jumped up.
A lot of people in very quickly. Nice to see you all. Please
do comments in. Let us know what you think during the show. We love to hear people's opinions and tell us why we're fucking idiots. We like that too.
Yeah, that's the most important one, isn't it? Like giving us a shit ton of hate. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to be covering our 6 top QBs today. And the reason it's 6 is because everybody else is doing 6. And I didn't go all the way down to I didn't make it all the way down to 10 in my 2-week hiatus yet.
I do think there's a couple guys past 6 that have potential to be something, but that's like every year it's going to be a 5th round pick who maybe surprises the world because he has the right tools or that kind of thing. But for me, there's 6 guys that everybody's talking about and will legitimately get a shot in this league. I don't know what they'll become, but they'll legitimately get a shot at being a starting quarterback in this league.
Yeah, the one that does spring to mind past this 6 is was on QB1, had to transfer from the Oklahoma Sooners and has looked. Spencer Rattler. Yeah, Spencer Rattler. He's the one past 6 where I'm interested in what he'll do when he comes to the league because so much potential, so much hype, so much talk around him. I think he has decent leadership qualities coming into a team. I think he'll be the one where if your team drafts him 4th or 5th, maybe watch out for him showing up in like year 2, year 3 and seeing where he is. But
all right, well,
what's interesting about sorry, Jay. What's interesting about these 6 is normally when you take a QB draft and you go all the way down to 6, you're talking about guys going in the third round, right? Like 3rd, 4th round. These guys
or later.
Yeah, or later, especially but these guys, these 6, I can almost see all of them going in the 1st round. I think they all I think they all have 1st round talent. I don't think there's enough teams that'll see it worth it. We'll see the worth and the value in taking them in the 1st round. There's a couple of guys who will drop to the 2nd, but I think they're all worth a pick in the 1st round, in my opinion.
Well, let's just start out with number 6, and I'll jump out there first with my number 6 on the board, Drake May. Drake May is the 6th best quarterback in this draft.
Following the Chris Sims trail of thought there, if you've seen Sims's rankings that went out today.
I haven't. I have not seen them yet.
Yeah. He's got him 6 as well, which is quite interesting. For me at number 6 is JJ McCarthy, but for me at number 5, I have Drake May. So shall we break down Drake May first?
Yeah, because for me, what Drake May isn't he's not super accurate. There's concerns when he's under pressure. He likes to try to revert to some hero ball, and once in a while he makes some great plays, but his accuracy drops off when he's got pressure, when he's got to move, when he's got to get out of the pocket. To me, his ceiling is Ben Roethlisberger, which is amazing. That's a Hall of Fame quarterback, right?
Yeah, which again is a draft that guy in the first round. Yeah.
Right. But his floor to me is literally some guy who's lucky if he makes it as a backup.
Yeah, I think with Drake May, if you go, my notes that I've got written down, if you go watch his tape again, and it's really difficult to remove bias, it's something that everybody has, but go watch his tape
this year.
Go watch his tape again. Go have a look at Drake May's tape, and you'll see that, and remove everybody telling you that he's a top 3 QB in the draft. If you just try and remove all the bias and try and remove everybody telling you for the past 2-3 years that he's this guy, you'll then see that he is only above Bo Nix and Michael Penix because of his age. Bo Nix and Michael Penix are more accurate than he is. Their throwing mechanics are more repeatable than his are. He's just a lot younger, and the NFL gets excited about potential. Look, if you're a team that doesn't really have the pieces and you need to just throw a guy and just see what happens, maybe you take Drake May over a Penix or a Nix, maybe. For me, some of his throws, you look at it and you go, wow. Like, you just think that is an insane throw. You look at it and you go, damn, that is an incredible play. His athleticism is decent enough. He struggles in the pocket with his pocket presence, I think, is pretty bad. And he struggles to produce his mechanics consistently. And if you struggle in the pocket and you struggle to produce your mechanics consistently, you're going to throw low, you're going to throw high, you're going to throw interceptions. And that is a great way to get you out of the league very quickly.
Well, I got to tell you, your number 5 kind of has me like, whoa. So I'll throw my number 5 out there, and then we'll kind of go over both of them and why we feel that way. At number 5, I got Bo Nix.
I want to say
about Bo Nix. That's just an overall grade of me grading where I think these guys are, right? Mm-hmm. I think there's a couple teams that Bo Nix is perfect for.
Yeah, it's really important to say while we're doing this kind of ranking that Bo Nix is, like, all of these guys, I would have them go to different teams. So this isn't the draft order for me. Like, I would have Drake. I think Drake May is going to go above Bo Nix and Michael Penix, who I have higher in this list.
I do too, and I think it's a mistake, but I agree with you.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake, but I also think where he's going is probably 3 overall to the Patriots. Like, looking at it now, like, the Commanders will take Jaden Daniels. The Bears will probably take Caleb Williams, or that'll be flipped, like, whatever. I think Drake May will go 3rd to the Patriots. And I think, okay, the Patriots don't really have any weapons. They need a spark. They need to develop somebody with potential. Maybe that is Drake May. Maybe it is Drake May, and we'll see. Like, because you're taking the toolsy quarterback there who has all of this stuff. For me, Bo Nix, I think, is a perfect fit for the Broncos, right? With Sean Payton, he immediately is a perfect fit for them. He gives me kind of a slightly more scrambly Drew Brees energy. So I think he would be really great.
I think he's perfect for anyone who runs the Shanahan offense. So I think he'd fit perfectly into Minnesota. I think, not that they need one. I think he'd fit perfectly into San Francisco. Like I said, but, like, I think there's a lot of guys. I actually think he'd be a good fit for Atlanta, but they're going to overpay for Kirk Cousins. So that's a whole different discussion there.
It's a whole different show.
Yeah.
It's a whole different show. Yeah, there are so many. There's Bo Nix and Michael Penix. I have, like, so level. Like, I have them so level in this draft. But I think, Bo Nix gets it because of Michael Penix's injury issues, but it's not like Bo Nix has been totally fit the entire time.
Bo Nix is super accurate, doesn't throw interceptions, reads defenses, controls the offense, has played a lot of football, is very athletic. I don't get that. Like, I'm not going to lie. If you go back and watch us in the middle of the year, I wasn't the highest on Bo Nix. But as the year went on, he grew on me a little more. And then when I got really into watching Bo Nix after the year, I'm like, what doesn't he do well? And they're like, he doesn't throw the greatest deep ball. I'm like, he throws a pretty good deep ball, you guys. It's not like he can't throw it.
It's such a fake. Like, it's such a fake. The Bo Nix deep ball narrative is such a lie as well. Like, such an awful lie. It's because Oregon throw so many screens that you don't get to see him like just launch a deep ball every now and again because it's not the system. But I just don't think that that's viable. Like, when he does get to throw a deep ball, there's a few misses. So what I've got written under Bo Nix, I have him the next step up from you. I have him at 4, but that's because I have JJ McCarthy. I imagine you have JJ McCarthy higher than that. So I've got, like, he throws a few more misses down the field than I would like on the games that I've watched. But also in 2023, he has the highest passing accuracy stats in the NCAA of all time. And I know that's a lot of like underneath throws, but he throws enough deep balls for that to be important as well. So I really like Bo Nix. I'm not sure whether his athleticism transfers to the NFL very well. Is one concern that I would have, because people are obviously citing his athleticism and how quick he is and his ability to scramble. We'll see how it translates to the NFL, because I think when you put him on a field with those kind of athletes, he will be kind of dwarfed by them. So we'll see.
So what is your, I don't want to say hate, because it's not hate because you got him up high enough, but what is your issues with JJ McCarthy?
Yeah, so exactly. As I said, it's not hate because I think all of these guys have a case to go in the first round. And I think JJ McCarthy is a great fit for certain teams. I think JJ McCarthy is an awesome fit for the Falcons. I think he's a really great fit. I'm not sure his style of play translates. I'm not sure his style of play transfers to the NFL very well. And I'm a little bit scared of JJ McCarthy and taking him because of the Mac Jones effect that it has on me. Where if you watch JJ McCarthy at Michigan, he's playing with the best run game, and it's a run-first offense, and he's playing with the best defense in college. But I don't think winning should ever be held against a guy. So I'm a bit concerned that he's like throwing, like, I'm a bit concerned that he doesn't go out and win them games by himself. But I also think you can catch lightning in a bottle with guys like JJ McCarthy, right? Like guys who know what a winning culture looks like. Guys like Joe Burrow. Like, if you can catch the lightning in a bottle of an arrogant fucker who just goes out there to win like Joe Burrow, then worth a first round pick in the draft. I just don't see him winning a lot of games in the NFL with his style of play.
See, and I totally disagree. He's accurate, reads defenses. He does not get the credit for the athlete he is. He did everything he was asked to at Michigan well. Yeah. And when it was time for him to make a play, he made a fucking play. And it was with his arm. It was with his brain moving around. I personally think he is very underrated in this draft. And when I get to where I have him, I'll tell you who I think is going to draft him.
All right. JJ McCarthy is a little bigger than I thought he was as well. When I was looking at his measurements, he's a little bigger than I thought he was, because I was also getting the whole vibe of like, oh, I don't like slender quarterbacks in the NFL anymore because of the injury problem. I don't love it. But he's actually 6'2", 219 pounds. So he's not like, it's not like small, and he's taken a lot of hits, and obviously Michigan will get him in the weight room before he goes there, and there's not many organizations that size people up like Michigan. So yeah, I really like JJ McCarthy as well. I just don't see him above Bo Nix or Penix either, but I do see him above Drake May.
Well, then who do you have at number 4, Maddie? Who is your number 4 quarterback prospect?
So for me, at number 4, we have Bo Nix. Yep, we have Bo Nix at number 4.
I got Michael Penix at number 4.
Yeah, so what I've written under Bo Nix is basically just comparing him to Penix. And I've decided they're basically the same quarterback, and I just think Penix is slightly more accurate than Bo Nix.
On the
But
sidelines, he throws
yeah,
a beautiful deep ball outside the numbers. Where he struggles sometimes is inside the numbers. I think that is just getting him time, getting his feet underneath him, that kind of thing with Penix. But that's just me with my thought on Penix. And Penix is a better athlete than he gets credit for, because when he was at Indiana, he did a lot of running, but he got hurt, so he learned how to play from the pocket. I think that is some credit that's not given to him, that he can play both styles of football. Even though he's not going to run for a ton of yards, he's a guy who can get out, make plays. When the play breaks down, make something happen. And if he needs to run for 6 yards and get down, run for 12 yards and get down, I mean, he's a good enough athlete to get it done, and he doesn't get the credit for it.
yeah, for me, Penix is a guy who, like, where I say Bo Nix and JJ McCarthy to a certain extent, their athleticism doesn't translate to the NFL. That's because I think people are giving them the credit for being crazy athletes. Like, they're more athletic than Michael Penix is. But Michael Penix, I think it weirdly, his athleticism does translate quite well to the NFL. Because if you get a guy like Teddy Bridgewater or Kirk Cousins, even, who are, I think, are both decent comps for Michael Penix, you get a guy who, go on.
It's just, I think Penix is more athletic than fucking Josh Allen. He's just not as big and strong.
All right, okay. More athletic than Josh Allen.
Yeah, because everybody mistakes Josh Allen's big, strong, willing to run through you as athleticism. And that, I'm not taking that away from him. That's a talent, but I don't think that's athleticism. I think that's something.
I suppose it depends. I suppose it depends on what you're saying athleticism is, right? Yeah, I think Michael Penix, I think he, when he gets outside the pocket, will pick up the 6 yards. Like, he'll pick up the exact first down, slide nicely in front of him. Maybe a Dak Prescott style of athleticism now. Like, where Dak Prescott used to run quite a lot. Like, used to run that read option a lot, and then he stopped.
In Indiana. Yeah. So I think that's a great comparison, because they both have it in their bag, but they've both been injured, so they only try to use it when they have to.
Yeah, spoiler alert, I have Michael Penix on the next pickup at 3, because I think Bo Nix and Michael Penix are very interchangeable. I think because of both of them, Penix and Bo Nix, I think their age is a plus rather than a negative. What do you think about that? Because so many people, I think, seem to hate on them both because of their age, and I'm confused by that.
10 years ago, it was a problem because people didn't play as long as they do now. Now, I don't think 25 is a fucking issue at all. I think they're more mature. I think you got more experience. You got more games. And quarterbacks are playing into their late 30s now. So you're still going to get a dozen years with Michael Penix if he pans out, or any of these older quarterbacks, right? Like, I mean, look at Jaden Daniels. Isn't the youngest guy in the draft either, but they're not shitting on him for his age.
Yeah, Well, Jaden Daniels doesn't play like anybody that's old either. Like, I guess.
No, I'm just saying, like, when you 25 become old. Like, I'm with you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Wild.
I'm a year older than these two guys. Like, can we chill, please, on like calling them old? Like, please? Like, that would be really good for me. But like, yeah, with Michael Penix, I see the age as a plus. Like, I see, if you take either of these guys, I think you get great value if you take either of these guys, because Tankathon, who are really great at predicting what teams do in the draft, have both of these guys going in the second round. If you're choosing either of these guys in the second round, Bo Nix or Michael Penix, you have got fantastic value, in my opinion. I think the Falcons with Penix would be great. I think he's ready-made to go to a team who have
the Falcons are not
basically all the pieces. Yeah, they're gonna try. They're all set out on Kirk Cousins. I've also put the Vikings in here, and where I think
they're gonna give Kirk Cousins 3 years fully guaranteed.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at some point soon. I think with Penix, there are so many teams that could try. The Raiders, like there are teams where if you've got pieces, if you've got an semblance of a team and you're just looking to throw in a quarterback, and because you get him on a rookie deal, you can add even more pieces. Penix and Bo Nix are perfect for you, and you get great value out of them, especially if you're picking them in the second round of the draft. I'd be tempted for some of these teams to trade back into the first, at the very end of the first, just to make sure that they get hold of Penix or a Bo Nix, depending on who goes down there.
I think Penix is going before pick. I think he's going 13 to the Raiders at the latest.
Yeah, I could see some teams trying to play the game, right? Like I could see a couple of teams try to play the game of, like the Raiders, like the Falcons, where it's like, oh, I'm going to try and play the game, and I'm going to try and make sure that I get him in the second round to get all of this value. And then they might fuck themselves over. So if it's me and you think Penix is your quarterback of the future or Bo Nix is your quarterback of the future, don't leave him on the table. There are some great cornerbacks out there. There's some great defensive ends out there. There's some great wide receivers. You can pick them up in the second and third round all of the time. So there's no need to do it here.
All right. Well, number 3, I have J.J. McCarthy, who is going to go number 7 to the Vikings when they trade up with Tennessee.
Do you not think they could sit at 11 and get J.J. McCarthy?
No. I think everybody knows they have to get a quarterback and somebody would move up in front of them.
Yeah, okay. So
I could see them actually moving as far up as 5 with the Chargers to go get him.
Mm-hmm. That would actually be a really nice move for Tennessee. Like, that would be a really nice move for Tennessee. If they trade back to 11, they could still get a Joel or an Olufashnu at tackle, or Talisia Fagua.
It seems to be the consensus to go from 11 to 7 is going to cost you the 11th pick, your 4th round pick this year, and a 2nd round pick next year. I'm okay with that. Let's do it.
Yeah, if you think that J.J. McCarthy is your quarterback of the future, and I think I would rather sit and take Penix. Well, I would rather sit and take it. That's not what I think. I think I would rather sit and I would rather take Penix. And let whoever wants to go get J.J. McCarthy get J.J. McCarthy.
And that's assuming all his medicals come back good, because he's had 2 shoulders, 2 knees, Penix. So
is this Penix? Yeah. The injuries are the worry with Penix. Or maybe I'd take Bo Nix if his injuries, if he doesn't come back right. But I'd rather trade back, and so I don't know whether Bo Nix is going that high. But I don't think Bo Nix makes it past Denver. So yeah, it's all about playing the game and the value. But with QBs, you don't fuck around. If your guy is there, go get him.
Yep, I think McCarthy doesn't get them. We've talked about it when you brought him up. I don't think he gets the credit for being as good as he is, or the athlete, because he did exactly what was asked of him, and for some reason that's a fucking issue when it comes to the draft. But if you watch, he can make every throw on the field. He can read defenses. He anticipates his throws. He can get out of the pocket and move. People underestimate his athletic ability. He's a nice tall quarterback, but not overly tall. And people are like, what do you mean? There's not a lot of quarterbacks over 6'4" that have ever done shit in the NFL. So there's something weird about that too. I think after watching more and more of him, J.J. McCarthy to me is the 3rd best quarterback in this draft.
Who's your comp for J.J. McCarthy?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, the high-level comp for J.J. McCarthy. That's crazy.
He's accurate. He's smart. He's athletic enough. I see Aaron Rodgers when I watch him play.
I think it was Jalen Hurts for me when I was watching him play, which isn't bad either. Like, don't get me wrong, that's not bad either. But I think it was Jalen Hurts for me.
They don't run JJ like they run.
But I know that JJ can. I know that JJ has that ability in his locker. Again, this is the top 6. Like, I know that JJ McCarthy can run that like Jalen Hurts. But what I'm meaning is more the pocket presence. And I think the leadership qualities that Jalen Hurts has, I think you can see in JJ McCarthy as well, coming from a successful school, like a successful program, doing exactly what was asked of him. That sounds like Jalen Hurts to me.
That's wild. All right. I think he's way more accurate than Jalen Hurts too. But at number 2, I want to see if we have the same here. I have Caleb Williams, number 2 quarterback in this draft.
I still have Jaden Daniels at number 2 for me here. Over Caleb, but I have Caleb Williams number 1. I'm going to guess you've got Jaden Daniels at number 1. Otherwise, something's gone really awry.
Yeah, but for me, it's that Caleb Williams takes too many fucking chances. He plays hero ball a lot. He has a tendency to try to do too much. I think his ego gets the best of him at times also. And he shit the bed against all the great teams. He shit the bed against Notre Dame and Utah. And they were ugly, ugly games. And you got some of the best talent in the college football on offense on your team. And this is what we ended up with. I don't know. I don't see what everybody else sees. I don't see a guy who's ready to start week 1. I don't see a guy who's a generational talent like everybody else does. I see a guy who's going to has a chance to be a really solid NFL quarterback. But I mean, my comp for him at a ceiling is Dak Prescott.
For Caleb Williams.
Yes.
Yeah. Like obviously I'm a massive fan of Dak Prescott, so I don't think that's.
Well, that's not shitting on Dak. Dak is a top 10 quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but that's his ceiling. That's the best you can hope for. He is not going to be transcendent like some of these guys. Like he's not Lamar. He is not fucking Patrick Mahomes. He's not Joe Burrow. Like I just like I just see
that's the comp that a lot of people have gone for, Pat Mahomes, isn't it? That's the comp that a lot of people have gone for, and I don't see that in his future. What you've mentioned there is the intangibles, which is kind of weird with the comp of Dak Prescott, because the thing that raises Dak Prescott often is his intangible qualities, stuff like leadership and those kind of things. And I think that is a worry. If you're drafting Caleb Williams, I would want to have sat in X amount of interviews with him, like a crazy amount of interviews, like really spoken to him, really got to know his family. Like if I'm the Bears, where there's already been issues, and a guy like Jaden Daniels, who we'll talk about in a second, is on the table, I want to make sure that this guy, his intangibles are in the right spot, because I think worrying about his ego, I think that is a fair concern. Somebody who's already asked for the team that he's going to. He wants shares in the team, apparently.
But you can't even do it.
He wants that.
Which is wild.
He wants this. He wants that. And I think it's really important to sit in an interview and find out whether that's him or his father. And once Caleb Williams is his own man in the NFL, will he tell his father to fuck off, basically? Like Pat Mahomes has had to do with his family as well. That's important to remember. He's had to say to his family to piss off, like, and become that kind of guy.
He had to tell his dad to shut his mouth.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see if people think Caleb Williams is that guy. And without, again, until we get our press passes to things like the Combine, we unfortunately can't ask these questions to people and find out for ourselves. So guys who are watching this, just complain to your television host that they're not paying us to go there and make sure that we're getting these answers. But on the athleticism front, on the QB front, I think you just look a guy and sometimes you just think that guy's a match. How? Every time. You look at a guy and you just think that guy's a match winner when he's on form. And I think for me, if he fulfills his potential and you don't take him, you lose your job. If you're the Bears, if you're the Bears GM and you don't take Caleb Williams and he fulfills his potential, you lose your job. And if I'm a team like the Bears, where I've started to get some good pieces on defense, I'm starting to try and assemble a decent offense, and my offensive line is a bit weak, I want Caleb Williams because I think he's shown the durability. I think he's shown that special playmaker in him in certain plays to go out and do that. But you need to make sure the intangibles are right. And I totally agree with you on that one.
All right. And then I got Jaden Daniels, number one. I think he's the most athletic. I think he's accurate as fuck. He throws a great every ball, but he throws a great deep ball. He doesn't turn the ball over. He makes good decisions. And what that dude can do with his legs is special.
Yeah, so Jaden Daniels immediately becomes probably the top three in running quarterbacks in the NFL as soon as he comes in. But in that top three, you also have Justin Fields. Well, Jaden Daniels throws a way better ball than Justin Fields. He's a direct copy of Lamar Jackson.
I was going to say Jaden can at least throw.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Running.
I think he throws better than Lamar too.
Yeah, if you watch him and watch his mechanics, it's way more repeatable than Lamar Jackson. He's way more accurate than Lamar Jackson. He throws a great ball downfield. He's also so much bigger than I thought he was, and I'm a bit worried about his size because he refused to get measured at the combine. But he's 6'4". Like his height is. We could probably take that as a 6'2", 6'3", and they've maybe padded his socks to make him a 6'4", and those kind of things on these measurements. 95 kilos, okay, a little on the lighter side for 6'4", but by no means is he small and slender. And when you watch some of the hits he takes in college, he takes enough hits to bounce straight back up and take those hits really hard and comes straight back up. He took some decent shots on the film I was watching and was ready to play. And I watched his game against Ole Miss. And there were 3 fades that he throws, all for touchdowns in that game, where I out loud said, wow, like as he threw them, like 3 perfect fades down the field, outside the numbers. Remember, the numbers in college are a lot wider than the numbers in the NFL as well. So he throws across the number, like across the hash to a fade on the outside, which is a much harder throw than it is in the NFL. And it just, wow. And you can really build an offense around Jaden Daniels.
He's got a rocket and he's got touch. So that, like I said, he doesn't turn the ball over, which is huge.
He's going to get the same disservice that Lamar Jackson get when he first came into the league. And everybody's going to call him a running back, and everybody's going to say that he can't throw about him, and everybody's going to say this and going to say this. And then in 3 years' time, he'll be getting the same credits that Lamar Jackson does. And I really hope that the Bears take him. Actually, I don't want Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels in my division. So yeah.
Rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels. Rookie of the year.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that in his future.
That's his he's doing the CJ Stroud route. Watch.
Yeah. I'm trying to work out what my downsides on Jaden Daniels are. It would maybe be a concern about how slender he looks. Like, I don't think the measurements that I've found, I really don't think are right. I think he looks more slender than 95 kilos and he looks shorter than 6'4". So I'm a bit worried about that. I'm a bit worried about, like, if he's going to continue to run, he'll get hit. But he's not a run-first quarterback. That's not what he does. He throws first and runs when stuff isn't open. So in the NFL, that's really important with these these college quarterbacks.
No, I agree. That's me. I got him. I'm guessing you got Caleb at number 1.
I've got Caleb at number 1.
And why do you feel like he's the best quarterback in the draft?
I think when you look at Caleb Williams, look, I think people give USC a bit more credit than they perhaps deserve in terms of game management, and the offensive line that is there, I don't think is particularly great, but he did have loads of amazing weapons, and Jaden Daniels, LSU weren't the LSU that they've been recently either. But from what the film that I've been watching and what I've seen, Caleb Williams, I think back to his not this season, but last season's tape, and I just look at it and I just go, this game-winning shit.
When he couldn't get the ball to Jordan Addison, who's proved he's amazing that year.
Yeah, just some of those plays, like outside the pocket. Caleb Williams is the best scrambler the guy who throws the ball on the run. He does it better than anybody else in this draft, and I think that is a lethal weapon to have.
See, and I think JJ McCarthy throws better on the run than he does, but that's just me.
I disagree.
Yeah, I think that's one of JJ's biggest strengths is he can throw on the run, where that's where Michael Penix gets a little shakier, like than JJ on the run.
Yeah, I don't want Penix.
Do it.
Yeah, I don't really want Penix throwing on the run too often. Maybe on a bootleg. Like if basically, if Penix is outside of the pocket, something's gone wrong, in my opinion. Like, but that doesn't mean he can't make it right if it's gone wrong. I just know if I see him outside the pocket, I know a player's broken down somewhere.
Well, we didn't have the same top 6, but I mean, we had the same players, but not in the same order. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. I don't think we had a single player in the same order, did we?
Where have you got Drake May?
6.
Oh no, sorry. Where have you got Bo Nix? Sorry,
5.
All right, okay, yeah, not a single player in the same place.
Yeah,
I thought we'd have Penix in the same place. I was expecting you to put Penix at 3.
No, I didn't know what you were going to do. I was there at the middle of the year, but after watching JJ McCarthy, I'm like, JJ's better than Penix.
I knew you were going to have Daniels at 1, and I knew you were going to have Williams at 2, and I thought you'd have Penix at 3. And then after that, I was like, I don't know where he'll put anybody else. I was surprised that you went all the way down to 6 for Drake May, but then speaking about it and actually thinking about it on my own terms and watching the film, I do think that JJ McCarthy may be a little bit. I draft JJ McCarthy over Drake May, I think.
I think the Vikings are going to move up to 5 or 7 and take JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
This is a whole nother show too, but I think they're going to sign Sam Darnold to be that bridge quarterback.
I think that's a great move.
I think it's better than what I keep hearing Russell Wilson. I don't think Russell Wilson's the worst quarterback that could go to Minnesota, especially since you're going to get him for $1.2 million. But yeah. I think Sam Darnold is better for that offense because he wants to play on rhythm, on script, and with the play. Russell Wilson will pass up a check down to like scramble out, and that's not Kevin McCarthy. That's not Kevin O'Connell's offense.
Yeah, I think what is so interesting about the quarterback market this year is the fact that we have such a great QB draft class coming out. But let's just remember the QB draft class that had Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, somebody else in there as well. But that draft class that came out, we were like, oh, that's one of the best draft class of all time. That's going to be great. Trevor Lawrence is going to be the only guy that is playing for the team that drafted him in that draft class. So when you see these generational drafts, just remember, there's always busts in there. So you try to make your draft bust-proof. I think Drake May is the least bust-proof guy in this draft.
And I think sometimes a player being a bust falls down to coaching.
Yeah, it falls down to where he goes. It falls down to coaching. Like whoever goes to the Bears at 1 is going to have a struggle. Whoever goes to the Commanders at 2, we'll see what happens there, because I'm not sure what pieces they have. And whoever goes to the Patriots at 3, you won't have any weapons for the next 2 years, unless they go crazy in the free agent market.
Nobody thinks of this, but what if the Patriots are like, we're going to stick with Mac Jones because it was a Belichick issue, and we're going to trade out or take the best player there. So let's give Mac Jones Marvin Harrison Jr., or let's trade back and pick up a gang of picks to make this team better. That's something we might see. Like nobody would have seen that with Belichick, but now that it's Gerard Mayo, we might see a whole new thing. And it's no longer Robert Kraft, it's his son running the team. So,
yeah.
I'm interested to see how that goes.
I think you hope that the Commanders take Drake May at 2, and then you take Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams, whichever goes there, right? You hope that happens, and then I don't think Drake May is better than Mac Jones. I think that Michael Penix and Bo Nix are both better than Mac Jones, but are they number 3 overall pick better than Mac
No,
Jones? I'm not
that's
sure.
the thing.
Like, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, do I trade back? If you trade back, the win for me there is the trade back, because then you shouldn't be going too far back, because there's plenty of teams.
Well, use
that
the
needs
Vikings. You're
the
only
right
going
quarterback.
back to 11. You're still going to get one of
Yeah.
the top fucking defensive players in the league, or a great wide receiver, or an offensive lineman. So, I mean, you could use them.
Or
You could use
or a Michael Penix, or a
Huh?
JJ McCarthy, or a Michael Penix, or a Bo Nix, or a JJ McCarthy at a place that feels like a better value pick there than 3. If I'm the New England Patriots, that's what I would do. I think I would try and trade back. And then if I didn't trade back, I think I would take Marvin Harrison Jr. for Mac Jones. And that'd really fuck the Cardinals up.
Yeah, because that's already penciled in. Everybody thinks that's happening no matter what.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh yeah, we'll see him in the Cardinals jersey. I'm surprised.
Are the wild card, because nobody knows what the Patriots are going to do. They could do they have so many holes.
Yeah, I think it's because the 3rd overall quarterback is so much less clear, because Drake May has basically been torn apart throughout this like entire draft season. I don't think he's good value at 3. I really don't.
I think he's the guy who slips to the 2nd round.
I think somebody will take a flyer on him earlier than the 2nd round. But I think I can really see Penix and Bo Nix making it. Penix or Bo Nix making it to the 2nd round, I think. And then you're getting amazing value if you get
I think if Penix makes it to the 2nd round, something was wrong with his medicals.
Yeah.
Because the Raiders at 13, like I'm just saying, like the Raiders at 13, where are the Broncos? 12?
Yeah, Broncos are sat at 12. Raiders are at 13.
Vikings
Broncos
at 11. Like, yeah, many teams right there who are in need of a quarterback.
New Orleans at 14. They're stuck with Derek Carr now, aren't they? New Orleans. Seahawks
for another
at 16.
year though, and then they can get out of that contract. So do you draft? Because I think all of these guys should probably sit at least a half a year, if not a full year, before they play.
Yeah. Seahawks at 16 is an interesting one. Pittsburgh at 20. Even the Rams at 19. Like, Stafford isn't young. Stafford could go down, and Matthew Stafford's arm could fall off any day now. Like, just because of how many hits he's taken in his career. Like,
and
so
they went
there are
after
so many.
they went after Stetson Bennett last year, and he ended up in rehab and not on the team.
Yeah. There's so many teams here where you think actually, like, you maybe could do with drafting a QB. That's one. Basically, teams that may draft a QB. I don't see the Dolphins doing it at 21. I think they probably stick with Tua, right? But you have Pittsburgh, LA, Seahawks, Saints, Raiders, Broncos, Vikings, the Bears twice, Atlanta if they continue, and then you have the other 3. So that's 12 teams that are going to want to walk away with a quarterback. And if Michael Penix goes through all 12, or Bo Nix goes through all 12, or even Drake May goes through all 12, I will be fucking astonished. I think that would be crazy. But, people like to play for value and like to... Obviously, those seats will be filled. Like, it looks like Wilson might be going to Pittsburgh, which I don't think is a horrible deal.
Except now the reports out of Pittsburgh is they're going to ride out with Kenny Pickett again,
which is fucking insane. Like when you've got the option of these guys, that's crazy.
And then don't forget, one of these teams is going to end up trading for Justin Fields.
Yeah, one of these teams gets Justin Fields. One of them gets Russell Wilson. either the Vikings or Atlanta will be taken out of the race because of Kirk.
Well, no, if the Vikings re-sign Kirk, they're still drafting a quarterback with that first pick of theirs. If because they already said we're not giving you 3 years fully guaranteed because they want to be able to flex out. If Atlanta drafts him, then they're out because they're going to have to give him a 3-year fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, but Kirk is a player in the game.
Donald, and whoever drafts Fields isn't going to draft a quarterback behind them. Whoever signs Russell Wilson probably will want to get a quarterback to get behind him.
Yeah, you also have guys like out there like Donald, Carson Wentz looked really, really good in that game that he played for the Rams. Maybe that takes the Rams out of play. Like if they want to stick with Carson Wentz after Stafford, maybe, which I think would be a mistake. But you also have guys like Gardner Minshew out there. You'll have guys like, I don't know why anybody would want to take Desmond Ridder on the team, but he'd be out there as well. So you have a lot of players who are basically the QB market is going to be crazy this year, and it's very exciting to see.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild, interesting ride. Riding up, I mean, what is today? The 8th, the 7th, the 7th. So we're literally 4 days away from legal tampering.
Very exciting. I'm very, very excited to see that. Very excited to see that. We should probably schedule a show to talk about all of the rumors, off-season moves, all of that kind of stuff, right?
Definitely, because stuff was going on at the combine when Kevin O'Connell came out and used the word tampering.
Oh, so much stuff came out of the combine, right? Like so much.
But when he's talking about Kirk Cousins, he specifically used the word tampering.
Yeah, I think one that shows how much he wants to keep Kirk Cousins in the building, right? Because he's trying to like say to the league, this isn't on, this isn't okay, like all of that kind of stuff. So that kind of shows his hand a little bit. If I'm Kirk, I really want to stay in Minnesota.
I don't know if I want him anymore.
Really? You're so excited for JJ McCarthy now that you
watched this. I guess if he signs, then his word meant something. But I'm starting to feel like all the shit he said in the offseason isn't true. And if you're not the dude of your word, then you're not really that good of a person as we think you are. And that's part of the reason we keep you on top of your talent. So maybe we just get your awkward ass out of the locker room and move on and save all that fucking money.
Yeah, with Kirk,
money's not important. How many times did Kirk say money's not important?
Yeah.
But now all it is about the money. And he's made more than any other quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yeah, like we've always known that Dak Prescott is going to be there for the business, right? We know that Dak Prescott is a great leader, but is also there for the business. That's something that we know. We know that Kirk was for the business to start and then has portrayed this kind of family man. I love Minnesota. I want to stay here for the rest of my life. I wonder if he's using the Falcons to up his money a little bit with the Vikings. That's what I think.
Florio just came out. Now, Kyle Pitts said it's not true, but Florio came out and said he has a good source that says Kirk already is trying to get number 8 off of Kyle Pitts.
Well, Florio won't be lying. It's whether his source is lying.
Right.
We'll see.
Well, Florio said he heard it, but he hasn't been able to confirm it.
Yeah. That's the kind of that's the kind of tampering that Kevin O'Connell is talking about, right? Like that kind of stuff where it's like Kirk is already basically in Atlanta. Kirk is basically already here. So.
Kirk's wife is from an hour away from Atlanta.
Really? I didn't know that. Yeah. Atlanta's a cool place to live.
Like Florida.
Yeah, like no shade on Kirk for chasing the money from my point of view, but
no, but then you're
with
not
all the shit that you've said.
If you're signing with the Falcons, you're not trying to win a ring, and you're just going to be known as a journeyman quarterback. So, okay, have fun.
Yeah, exactly. One of the greatest journeyman quarterbacks of all time. Like one of the greatest business quarterbacks of all time. And very, very talented as well. Like, I think it is in the Vikings' best interest to keep him there. Okay, shall we quickly run through who you think is going to be the first overall pick in the draft? Not who you think should be, who you
Caleb
think
Williams.
is going to be the first
Caleb
overall
Williams.
pick in the draft. Even with all the shit with the Bears and him saying he doesn't want to play for them and all of that, I think so too. Yeah,
And
Caleb Williams.
Whoever they draft, they have to start day one.
Yeah, they have no one behind Fields, do they? No, the Bears are in a really, Bears are in a really tough position. I'm also almost, if I'm the Bears, I kind of want to just I want to start Spencer Rattler at the start. I want to draft Spencer Rattler in the 5th to start him for the first few weeks so that you can see how good Caleb Williams is when he comes into the team. And just like justify your first overall pick, I guess.
Yeah, this whole offseason, Monday can't get here fast enough for me.
Do we know if he comes or goes on Monday? Is that
Yeah, that's the beginning of legal tampering. We're going to know we're going to know a ton of guys. It's Monday. It's just going to start being like, oh, so-and-so agreed to a deal with this. So-and-so agreed to a deal. And then they can finalize the deal on the 13th, but they'll have the guys already lined up contracts. And that's why contracts get announced so quick, is because they already worked the deal out at the combine, which is against the rules, but they still did it.
Yeah. It's always like, is it against the rules if everybody else did it? It's so interesting. So show on Tuesday or Wednesday to give us a bit of time to digest what happens on Monday.
We could do Wednesday, because then that'll be the opening day of where they can sign everybody, and even more names will be flying out.
There you go. Okay, let me just check the actual day on Wednesday. Yeah,
13th.
Wednesday it is. Let's go. There's our organization style, guys. You're so welcome. We'll be back in the
little behind the scenes for you there on our way up. So that's going to be an interesting quarterback class. And everybody who's watching, if you're a smoker and you want some good wraps, go to kingpalm.com. Use the promo code KPYandB at checkout. You'll save 20% off your entire order. Again, that's KPYandB at checkout to save 20% on your entire order at King Palms.
Is that Y and
How fancy
B,
is that?
or is it like Y with the fancy and?
No, it's YANDB.
YANDB.
It wouldn't let me use the. Yeah, it wouldn't
fancy.
It wouldn't let me use the symbol. Yeah.
What's that called?
So
if anybody
you
knows
got to start the promo code with KP. So
yeah, if anybody knows what the fancy and is called, the figure of 8 fancy and, then put it in the comments.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. We'll be back Wednesday, and we'll have a better idea maybe of how all this quarterback draft is going to play out, because some of these musical chairs will have already, filled up with these free agent quarterbacks. I think free agency and Vikings fans get excited. We don't make huge, big splash name guys, but I see the Vikings filling up the team with Xavier Howard, maybe JC Jackson. Like, I see guys coming because we got a lot of money to spend. And fuck Kirk Cousins. Let's just pray they re-sign Danielle Hunter.
Yeah, it's all right. Dak Prescott's going to be the highest paid quarterback of all time for the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll have no money to spend
by Monday, because they got to do something by Monday, because you're still negative $5 million right now almost.
Oh yeah.
And they don't even have enough money to sign their draft picks right now.
Yeah. But Dak Prescott becoming the highest paid quarterback of all time actually saves his money this year, which is quite an interesting.
And I don't know what happens
magic thing.
If what's your linebacker's name?
Leighton Vander Esch.
Yeah, if he retires, I don't know what happens to your cap with that. I don't know how that affects the cap, because
you've got to get that back.
Yeah, but money already paid still goes against the dead cap for bonuses. So, and then you have the injury guarantee that'll still go, and he'll have to retire because of an injury. I don't know how any of that'll work with the cap, and nobody knows for sure if he's retiring or if he's going to play because he's got that neck injury that retired Collins. That he's got the same neck injury that retired John Jolly. Like it's a bad neck injury, so we'll see what happens. I hope he doesn't have to retire because he's young and he's a really good player, and nobody wants to hear this, but my really early Super Bowl pick is the Dallas Cowboys versus Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow. I'm never going to ever put the Cowboys in the Super Bowl pick. I can't stand that kind of pressure either way.
Do you know why I got him there?
Go on.
Mike Zimmer is going to have that defense whipping ass.
Let's go. Let's go. I mean, I'll be very excited about it, but if we don't have any fucking linebackers, then we'll be in a bit of an issue. But we'll find them in the draft, so that's okay.
Eric Kendricks got cut. He's perfect. You don't need him to do much more than play that middle linebacker role. He's perfect, and Mike Zimmer loves that dude.
Yeah, we can't afford anybody is the other issue.
He's not going to cost anything.
But we literally can't afford anybody.
Well, you're going to make moves, though. You're going to make moves to open up money. So, but he's perfect to help teach that Zimmer defense, too. So, I would not be shocked to see Eric Kendricks wearing a star this year.
Yeah, I think that would work quite well. Okay. We deviated from
all right, guys.
which we always do.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.